Like all people, he faced trials, both personal and financial. As the days turned into weeks, Ahmed found that Salah was no longer something he hurried through.
Why is this happening to me? I have remained faithful, prayed, given zakat. What am I doing wrong?
Ahmed had always been a thoughtful young man. Born in the ancient city of Medina, he grew up surrounded by stories of the Prophet Muhammad and the early days of Islam. His family was devout, practicing their faith with care. Yet Ahmed often felt disconnected. He performed his prayers, fasted during Ramadan, and gave in charity when asked. But there was an emptiness inside him, an unshakable feeling that he was missing the true essence of his faith. Ahmed was respected by his neighbors for his generosity and integrity, but as the years passed, he couldn't help but feel like a stranger in his own skin. One evening, after a long day at the market, Ahmed sat beneath an olive tree just outside the city walls, gazing at the setting sun.
Why do I feel this emptiness? I perform the rituals, I do what's expected of me, but I feel disconnected. Is this all there is to being a Muslim?
The wind gently swept through the trees as Ahmed sat in silence. In the distance, he heard the call to prayer, Adhan. Its familiar sound stirred something deep inside him, but still, that sense of detachment remained. Ahmed knew that he needed to embark on a journey, not just outwardly but inwardly, to find the heart of his faith. This was the beginning of his quest to understand the 5 pillars of Islam, not as duties, but as the very foundation of life. Ahmed decided to visit the local mosque the next morning. There, he sought out an elderly scholar named Sheikh Abdullah, a man renowned for his wisdom and kind heart. As Ahmed approached the mosque, he noticed Sheikh Abdullah sitting in the courtyard, reading from the Quran. His white beard glowed in the soft morning sunlight, and his serene presence drew Ahmed in. After the morning prayer, Ahmed approached the sheikh, feeling a nervous knot in his stomach. Sheikh Abdullah, I feel lost, Ahmad admitted. I've been practicing Islam all my life, but something is missing. I don't feel connected. How do I truly begin to understand my faith? The sheikh closed his Quran and smiled warmly at Ahmed, gesturing for him to sit beside him.
My son, Islam is like a tree. Its roots lie in the Shahada, the declaration of faith. Everything grows from that. The Shahada is not just a statement of belief. It is a commitment to living by the truth of Allah's oneness and following the path of our beloved Prophet Muhammad.
Ahmed listened closely as Sheikh Abdullah recited the words of the Shahada. Ashhadu alla ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah.
There is no God but Allah, and Muhammad is his messenger. How many times have I said these words but never truly grasped their meaning? They are more than just a statement. They are a covenant.
The sheikh explained that saying the Shahada was like planting a seed in the heart. The seed needed nurturing, watering, and sunlight, all of which came through the other pillars of Islam. Ahmed left the mosque that morning with a lighter heart, repeating the Shahada to himself as he walked home. For the first time, he understood that this declaration was more than a verbal affirmation. It was a promise to live by the teachings of Islam. As the words echoed in his mind, he felt his heart slowly opening, like the petals of a flower greeting the morning sun. Weeks passed, and Ahmed's daily life continued as usual. He worked in the market during the day, tending to his shop, and spent his evenings with his family. But one evening, as he watched the sunset from his rooftop, Ahmed began thinking about the second pillar, Salah, the 5 daily prayers. Though Ahmed had always prayed, he often found himself distracted, rushing through his Salah without truly engaging with it. But now, something felt different. He remembered Sheikh Abdullah's words about Salah being more than a ritual. It was a direct line of communication with Allah.
How can I stand before Allah and allow my thoughts to drift away? Salah is my time to connect with Him, to lay bare my worries, my hopes, and my gratitude.
That evening, Ahmed resolved to make a change. He would approach Salah not just as an obligation, but as a moment of intimacy with Allah. The next morning, he awoke before dawn for the Fajr prayer. The world outside was still and quiet, the stars twinkling faintly in the pre-dawn sky. Ahmed performed his ablution slowly, feeling the cool water against his skin as he purified himself for prayer. When he stood for Salah, Ahmed tried something new. He slowed his recitation, focusing on every word. As he bowed in ruku and prostrated in sujud, he felt the weight of his body sink into the earth, grounding him. In those moments of prostration, he felt a closeness to Allah that he had never experienced before.
This is what it means to pray, to be present in every moment, to give my full attention to the one who created me. Salah is not a task to be completed, but a gift to be cherished.
As the days turned into weeks, Ahmed found that Salah was no longer something he hurried through. It became the anchor of his day, the moments of calm in the midst of life's chaos. Whether it was the bustling market or the quiet hours of night, Salah offered him peace and strength. Months passed, and Ahmed's journey through the pillars continued. He had come to understand the significance of the Shahada and Salah. But now it was time to explore the third pillar, Zakat, the obligatory charity. This pillar, he realized, was not just about giving wealth. It was about purifying the soul. One day, as Ahmed was closing up his shop for the evening, he noticed a beggar sitting outside the market, a young woman holding a child in her arms. Her clothes were worn, and the child's face was thin with hunger. Ahmed felt a pang in his heart.
I've given charity before, but do I really understand the purpose behind it? How many people in my community suffer in silence while I live in comfort?
Without hesitation, Ahmed approached the woman and offered her money for food. As she accepted the money with tear-filled eyes, Ahmed felt a deep sense of responsibility. Zakat, he realized, was more than just an obligation. It was a lifeline for those in need, a reminder that everything he owned was a gift from Allah. That evening, Ahmed visited Sheikh Abdullah again, seeking to learn more about Zakat.
Zakat is more than charity, my son. It is the purification of your wealth. By giving a portion of what you earn to those in need, you cleanse your heart from greed and remind yourself that wealth is a trust from Allah, not a possession.
Ahmed began to give more regularly, not just to fulfill the requirement of Zakat, but to purify his heart. He sought out those in his community who were struggling, offering help in whatever way he could. Over time, Ahmed saw how his small acts of kindness could transform lives.
Zakat is not just about money. It's about the heart. It's about giving from what you have and expecting nothing in return except the pleasure of Allah.
Through Zakat, Ahmed learned that the world was interconnected and that by lifting up others, he was lifting his own soul closer to Allah. Ramadan arrived, and with it, the opportunity for Ahmed to experience the fourth pillar, Sawm, the fasting during the holy month. Fasting had always been a challenge for Ahmed. He had always approached it as a physical trial, focusing on the hunger and thirst rather than the spiritual lessons it offered. But this year, things would be different. Ahmed decided to dedicate Ramadan not only to abstaining from food and drink, but to purifying his thoughts, actions, and intentions. He would use this month as a time for deep reflection and spiritual growth. On the first day of fasting, Ahmed rose before dawn to eat his pre-dawn meal, suhoor, with his family. As the sun began to rise, signaling the start of the fast, he felt the familiar pangs of hunger begin to creep in. But instead of focusing on the discomfort, Ahmed chose to focus on gratitude.
How many blessings do I take for granted every day? Food, water, health, these are gifts from Allah. Fasting is a reminder of the fragility of life and the countless blessings I often overlook.
As the days of Ramadan passed, Ahmed found himself growing stronger, not physically, but spiritually. The hunger he felt during the day reminded him of those who go without food not by choice, but by circumstance. Each evening, as he broke his fast with dates and water, he was filled with a deep sense of gratitude for the sustenance Allah provided. One evening, after breaking his fast, Ahmed sat in the mosque during Taraweeh, the special nightly prayers performed during Ramadan. As the Imam recited verses from the Quran, Ahmed felt his heart swell with a profound connection to the words of Allah.
Fasting is not just about the body, it's about the soul. It's a time to cleanse, to renew, and to reconnect with Allah in a way that goes beyond the physical.
By the end of Ramadan, Ahmed felt a sense of spiritual clarity that he had never experienced before. He had learned to appreciate the blessings of life and to control his desires, focusing instead on his relationship with Allah. Years passed, and Ahmed's faith continued to grow. He had embraced the Shahada, made Salah a central part of his life, given Zakat with a pure heart, and experienced the spiritual cleansing of fasting. But one pillar remained: Hajj, the pilgrimage to Makkah. One year, Ahmed's uncle, who had performed Hajj before, invited him to join the journey. Ahmed felt both excitement and fear. He knew that Hajj was not just a physical journey, but a spiritual one, a journey that would test his endurance, his faith, and his connection to Allah. The pilgrimage was long, but as Ahmed arrived in Makkah and gazed upon the Kaaba for the first time, he felt an overwhelming sense of awe. The Kaaba, the house of Allah, stood before him, surrounded by millions of Muslims from every corner of the world. Ahmed felt small in the vast sea of people, but he also felt a profound sense of unity.
This is the heart of Islam. People from every nation, speaking every language, gathered in one place, all equal before Allah. Hajj is not just a journey to Makkah, it's a journey to the soul.
As Ahmed completed the rites of Hajj, walking around the Kaaba, standing on the plains of Arafat, and casting stones at the pillars of Mina, he felt his heart being cleansed of the burdens he had carried for so long. Hajj was a journey of purification, a reminder that life is temporary and that the ultimate journey is the one that leads back to Allah. After returning from Hajj, Ahmed reflected on his journey through the 5 pillars of Islam. Each pillar had taught him valuable lessons, shaping his character, deepening his faith, and bringing him closer to Allah. The Shahada had opened his heart to the truth of Allah's oneness. Salah had become his anchor, grounding him in moments of prayer and reflection. Zakat had taught him compassion and the importance of sharing his blessings. Sawm had cleansed his soul and reminded him of life's fragile nature. Hajj had given him a sense of unity and purpose, reminding him that all of life is a journey back to Allah. Ahmed realized that Islam was not just a set of rituals. It was a way of life, a path to inner peace, and a means of achieving spiritual fulfillment. Through the 5 pillars, he had found the connection he had long sought, and his heart was now filled with a love for Allah that surpassed anything he had ever known.
The 5 pillars are not just duties, they are gifts. They are the foundation of a life lived in submission to Allah, and through them, I have found the peace I had been searching for all my life.
As Ahmed continued his journey through life, he carried the lessons of the 5 pillars with him, striving to live a life of faith, compassion, and devotion, always seeking to draw closer to Allah. After completing the Hajj, Ahmed returned to his hometown of Madinah. The streets, the markets, and the familiar faces were just as they had always been. But Ahmed felt different. The journey had transformed him in ways he had not anticipated. He no longer felt the same detachment or confusion that had once plagued him. His heart was filled with gratitude, and his mind clearer than ever. knowing that he had come closer to Allah through the 5 pillars of Islam. As Ahmed stepped through the door of his home, he was greeted warmly by his family. His mother, her eyes wet with tears of joy, embraced him tightly.
Alhamdulillah, my son has returned safely. May Allah accept your Hajj and bless you with His mercy.
Ahmad smiled at his mother, feeling the weight of her prayers that had supported him on his spiritual journey. In the days that followed, Ahmed shared his experiences with his family and friends. He recounted the awe he felt upon seeing the Kaaba, the unity he experienced with millions of other Muslims from all corners of the world, and the spiritual renewal that came from walking in the footsteps of the prophets. But what had struck Ahmed most deeply was the realization that the 5 pillars of Islam were not mere acts of worship, but a comprehensive way of life. Each pillar, he now understood, was a key to developing a stronger relationship with Allah and a means to guide every aspect of life, body, mind, and soul. Though Ahmed had grown in his faith, life was not without challenges. Like all people, he faced trials, both personal and financial. One day, Ahmed's business, which had thrived for many years, suddenly faced a downturn. The market shifted, competition increased, and he found himself struggling to make ends meet. For the first time in years, Ahmad felt the pressure of financial hardship.
Why is this happening to me? I have remained faithful, prayed, given zakat. What am I doing wrong?
For a moment, doubt crept into Ahmed's heart, but he quickly remembered the lessons of the 5 pillars, especially Salah. During this difficult time, Salah became his refuge. He would wake up long before dawn for tahajjud, the night prayer, and pour out his heart to Allah, seeking guidance, patience, and strength. As he recited the words of the Quran, they resonated with him in a way they hadn't before. And we will surely test you with something of fear and hunger and a loss of wealth and lives and fruits. But give good tidings to the patient who, when disaster strikes them, say, indeed we belong to Allah, and indeed to Him we will return. Surah Al-Baqarah 2, 155, 156. These verses gave Ahmed comfort. He understood now that tests were part of life's journey, a way for Allah to strengthen his faith and remind him of the temporary nature of this world. Over time, his financial situation improved, but more importantly, his trust in Allah grew deeper. He realized that wealth, like all things in life, was fleeting, and the real wealth was in his faith and relationship with Allah. Omar nodded thoughtfully, his young mind absorbing the advice. Ahmed smiled, feeling a sense of fulfillment in knowing that he was helping guide the next generation toward a deeper understanding of their faith. As years went by, Ahmed continued to live by the teachings of the 5 pillars. Though life had its share of ups and downs, Ahmed found stability in the balance these pillars brought him. They were not just rituals. They were keys to a life of meaning, balance, and peace. Every day, Ahmed woke before dawn to pray Fajr, his heart grateful for the opportunity to start each day in the presence of Allah. He structured his life around Salah, pausing throughout the day to reconnect with Allah through prayer, no matter how busy life became. He continued to give zakat with sincerity, not as a mere financial obligation, but as a means to purify his wealth and to support those who were less fortunate. Through zakat, Ahmad felt connected to his community, aware that his wealth was a trust from Allah. When Ramadan came, Ahmed fasted with renewed purpose. Fasting was no longer just about abstaining from food. It was about cleansing his soul, practicing patience, and developing a deeper sense of gratitude for the countless blessings he often took for granted. And though the physical journey of Hajj had ended, the lessons he learned during the pilgrimage remained with him. The humility, unity, and submission to Allah that Hajj had taught him continued to shape his daily life, reminding him that all of life is a journey toward the Creator. Ahmed's journey through the 5 pillars of Islam had transformed him, not just in his actions, but in his heart. The Shahada, Salah, Zakat, Sawm, and Hajj were no longer separate acts of worship. They were the framework for his entire life. Through them, Ahmed had found peace, fulfillment, and, most importantly, a deep connection with Allah. As Ahmed grew older, he passed on the lessons of the 5 pillars to his children, teaching them that these pillars were more than duties. They were gifts from Allah to guide them through life. He taught them that Islam is a way of living that brings balance, contentment, and success in both this world and the hereafter.
The 5 pillars are not just duties to perform. They are a path to peace, fulfillment, and closeness to Allah. Through them, we find our purpose and our place in this world.
Ahmad's story is one of transformation, not just in actions, but in the very depths of his heart and soul. The 5 pillars of Islam, which once seemed like mere obligations, became the foundation of his identity, guiding him through every step of his journey. Ahmed's story reminds us that Islam is not simply a set of rules, but a way of life that leads to inner peace, fulfillment, and ultimate closeness to Allah. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Quranic Journey to Islam for more videos like this.